You are listening to the MVP Podcast. What is going on, MVP Podcast? It is your host, Mitch Gibson, and I'm thankful to be able to have the opportunity to have the microphone and once again for another week and another great episode. I've got a fire episode for you today. This guest not only is a mentor, someone that I look up to in the day-to-day life of my insurance career, and also a lot of life lessons that this man you're going to be able to take away from outside of even insurance today. But I'm joined by the one and only Dr. Billy Williams, president of Inspire, a nation business, nation business, keynote speaker,
mentoring, yeah, Inspire Nation
leader,
business mentoring.
He is a guy that if you aren't paying attention to him, you don't know who he is. It's pretty easy to find out who he is. I spent about 25 minutes the other day on YouTube before we even decided that we were going to have a podcast. Before we even discussed booking a podcast, I watched a YouTube clip with you describing the acronym ICE cream, and it was the most I've got out of a piece of content in quite a long time. Right? We see the same reoccurring stuff, but this guy is somebody you need to be watching, somebody you need to be following, and somebody that you should just reach out. And I'm sure he'd love to have a conversation with you. But Dr. Billy Williams, man, glad to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Always honored to be able to share information, knowledge, wisdom with the insurance industry, because the insurance industry has done so much for me and my family and continues to do so much for me and my family. So always honored to be able to share.
Absolutely. So without further ado, you're a competitive guy. Yep. I'm a competitive guy. You're working your butt off with golf. I've got a passion for baseball. Sports is kind of in my blood. Sports is what gets me going. I don't really enjoy watching it, but I'm competitive and I love the game of baseball. And there's a lot of life lessons in baseball, which is going to lead me into, if there's anything you know about me, I am fast. I've got ADHD. So we're going to go 5 rapid fire questions. Gotcha. 5 rapid fire questions. There might be a 6th. There might be a 7th. Who knows? Sometimes that's just what happens when you comes to my mind here and you're on the show. You get full of surprises.
There's nothing you can do that's going to throw me off my game. So we're good.
I love it. With question number 1, what is your favorite color?
Blue.
What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Chocolate.
If you could spend 24 hours with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
J. Paul Getty.
Any specific reason why?
Because the man just made money over money over money over money, and he did it from just the money, and then what he's left, his legacy, the Getty museums and all that other stuff. J. Paul Getty.
Love it. If you could go on vacation somewhere, anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Oh my God, that's hard to say because I've been so many places. There's like no place on earth that.
Or maybe what's been your favorite place you've been to?
Dominican Republic.
I went down there. Actually, fun fact, we can talk about this in a little bit, but my sophomore year of college, I went to Ball State and played baseball there. We actually went down there for a mission trip and played against the Dominican pro teams, these 14, 15, 17-year-olds. Dude, they ran us up and down the field like you wouldn't believe, and we're an 18, 19, 20, 22-year-olds.
Because they do that to get out of something. See, anytime you're working to get out of something versus just for fun, you're always going to work harder.
It was insane to see. It's literally a gate. You don't make it, bye-bye. Go back to, to the village and help your family survive.
And you know what? I know it's a rapid fire, but let me just throw this in. Good. That's the same thing I run into with insurance agents. Right? When insurance agents are fighting to get out of something, fighting to get out of an agency that they hated, fighting to get out of a bad financial situation, fighting to get out of from around people that they didn't want to be around, they work harder. But when people are just there because it's fun, it's entertaining, and the opportunity presented itself, they don't work as hard.
I love that because that's probably going to be one of the key factors and key conversations that we discuss here. So if you're young agents, make sure you're staying tuned. This is one you don't want to miss. Number 6, I got to ask this is probably one of my new favorite questions I just recently started asking because it makes a pretty cool piece of content when I run these 5 rapid fire questions. But what type of music do you like? Who's your favorite artist, musician? What's your favorite genre?
Oh my God,
what gets Billy Williams going?
I don't have one favorite artist. It all depends on my mood. I mean, I listen to Silk Sonic with Bruno Mars and those guys, but if I'm in a different mood, I'll listen to Tchaikovsky. I'll listen to, it all really depends on what I'm trying to do. So here's the best way to put it. If I'm trying to focus and really think, I'm listening to classical.
Okay.
Always classical. If I'm in the gym, I'm listening to heavy metal, right? If I'm in just my normal everyday around the house, I'm probably listening to whatever's on top 40, something like that. But I listen to music specific to what I want to accomplish.
I love that. I'm in the same boat. If someone asked me that question, I probably wouldn't be able to answer it either, because it really just depends on the type of, maybe the type of the specific season we're in. I mean, if it's winter here in Indiana, oh my gosh, for some reason it's just like, for some, listen to sad country songs, drinking beer at the bar. It's like, what? Why? I just don't know. It's just how it is. But those questions, the reason why I like asking these questions, because one, it helps the listeners get to know you a little bit more better, Billy, and two, I'm selfishly have this podcast so I can learn from my guests just as much as the guests.
That's why you do it. That's why everybody should do it.
So with that being said, I don't want to waste a ton of time just, back and forth here. I want to kind of get into some deep conversation early and often. Let's give some meat and
potatoes.
Yes.
Let's give some meat and potatoes.
So today we talk, these agents who listen to the show here talk about a lot about tech, or the guest will talk about a piece of technology, or, he'll talk about how he built this specific process that's helping him with his commercial lines leads that he's getting through Xywave, or whatever it might be. Right. But I think people try to do one or two things. They make it too complicated. And it doesn't make anything more efficient. It just adds extra steps and extra problems. Or two, they don't have a path. They don't have any guidance to tell them whether or not that's wrong or right. So if we could talk a little bit about processes, young agent, ideal, maybe under the age of 35 or less than 5 years in the business. What things should producers, whether that's personal lines or commercial lines, I think they kind of go hand in hand in a sense of the process and customer journey. What things should young agents be focusing on early?
All right, guys, get your pencil, paper, iPads, whatever, Evernotes, whatever it is that you're using to take these guys, because I'm going to take you to school here for a few minutes. Hey, all right, there we go.
Mitch Gibson's taking them too.
So here's the first thing you have to do. Number one, you have to experience the customer journey. It has to be about the customer. When the customer is in the middle of the night at 2:00 in the morning and decides to go online and get a quote, what is that customer looking for? What questions are they asking? What searches are they doing? And then when that customer finally gets back a quote from whoever they got their quote from, what is that customer looking for? Are they looking for a number? Are they looking for information? Are they looking for knowledge? Are they looking for all of it? Then when that customer finally decides, I want to call somebody and talk to whoever this was, I want to follow with an email, a text, or whatever. Here's the deal. If I text you, text me back. Don't call me. Text me back. If I emailed you and said, hey, can you give me some information? Email me back first and then say, I'd like to also talk to you. Right? Because I'm telling you how I want to communicate with you, but you're forcing the way you want to communicate on me. So that's the first thing.
So you're saying, even if on that first part real quick, if you're saying, for an example, Susie calls or sends in an email, says, hey, can I get a quote on this? And I need to ask her maybe 36 questions. I'm just throwing it out there.
Right.
Might be quicker for me to call her on the phone and get those questions. But she sent me an email, so I need to respond to that email, because maybe
it could be the bad. And let her know you're calling. That's what I'm saying.
I see what you. Okay, there we go. Yeah. That's a better
reiteration. Answer the email and say, hey, yes, I can get that all work for you, but in order to really get this and to get an accurate quote, I'm going to need some information from you, and an email thread is going to be too long. So I'm going to call you in 5 minutes, or here's my appointment schedule. Let's schedule something. Whatever. All I'm saying is communicate to the people the way they started the communication with you first,
because it could be the bad time. Yeah,
it could be a bad time to do something else.
Yep, I like that. I wanted to make sure I heard that right.
Well, what happens is you won't miss all the I called and I called and I called and I called, because that's what your people are saying. Well, I called and I followed up and I called and I called and I called, and they never picked up the phone, because that's not the way they wanted to communicate to begin with. You have to get permission to talk the way you want to talk.
Makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Absolutely, it does.
So now I followed up with Judy. Next thing, video, guys. If you got a good program, the video will translate it for you. There are a lot of programs that are out, a lot of AI right now, that if you created a video, you could also instantly create the text for that video. So if I'm sending a video proposal, I'm going to send that video. Now I have my own CRM, so it's not fair. Most people can't do this, right? But I'm going to send that video, and then I'm going to take the body, the text of that video, and I'm going to send it to them. Because one, I don't know how they actually communicate. I don't know if they're video people. I don't know if they're reading people. right? But I do know that if I can get them both, I stand a much better chance of them looking at everything. The reason why you want video is not because it's faster, it's easier. It's because, again, it's always about, you and I talked earlier, I'd say there's three things I'm always looking for three things that go into the bucket of efficiency, right? Because everybody says it's more efficient, it's more efficient, it's more efficient. There are three things that go into the bucket of efficiency. Number one, am I communicating? Communicating means the receiver is receiving and understanding the message. It doesn't matter what I send, it only matters what they receive and understand. So number one, am I communicating? Number two, am I accurate? Am I sending accurate information? Okay. And number three, is it faster? So with video, I can communicate better. I can communicate accurately, and I can communicate faster a lot of times than me sitting there trying to do it. And the person receives that message a little bit better. So video proposals are huge. Here's the other thing, and we track all this stuff. Most video proposals, and we've sent out thousands and thousands and thousands of video proposals among my partner agencies. And even now, my kids and I have started a scratch agency. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but we started a scratch agency, right? We're primarily
here first.
Services. Yeah. We're primarily.
What's the name of it? You said
financial
service. You say primarily financial services.
I mean, my kids are still doing some PNC stuff on the side, and I've got a partner that's with us that's all he does is PNC. Gotcha. But I'm at a point in my career where I am not interested in Mrs. Jenkins' $12 rate increase on her car. I have no interest in that whatsoever. What I'm interested in is Johnny is retiring and he's got $1.6 million sitting in his 401k, and we want to put that into an annuity. That's what I'm interested in.
Yep.
And that's the denomination you think in. I don't think in a $12 rate increase denomination. Okay. And a lot of agents are screwing themselves because they're so busy chasing that I just need to get a policy that they're not going after the type and the amount of policy that they should go after. They're afraid of commercial because it's a longer tail, right? But it's more money. Yeah, but I'd rather write a renter's policy today. Nah, no. So anyway, let me stop. I digress. So now what we've noticed is when we track all this, most video proposals that we send out are opened multiple times between 10 p.m. and midnight.
Real quick on the proposals things, I've had a couple people ask this question, and I'm going to tell you what I do, and it probably takes too long, but I also probably don't have the technology. We'll talk about that down the road here that they can use or they can go look into that might help and benefit them in the long run. But for me, I've created my own proposal on Canva. It's so easy for me to go in there, plug, drop in, whatever it might be, right? It took me about almost a whole day to create the whole proposal, the 6-page proposal like I wanted it to be, or the 5-page proposal like I wanted it to be. And then I take that proposal, customized for them, that has their current policy information, current coverages, premium, side by side with mine, and then a recommended, right? So I then put that in PDF form, and then I do a video over that. I'll do a video proposal over that. Is that what you guys are doing, or is that what you're seeing people do?
So we have the technology already built in to my data marketing super center. Again, I have my own CRM, so it's not fair.
Makes it different.
Now, you guys, I get it. If you've got a website, I don't know who sponsors you, who doesn't sponsor you, but I can tell you right now, Chris Langille.
That's who we use, Advisor Evolve.
Okay, Advisor Evolve. He's already got this all built into his system already, so I don't care. Now, you don't even have to use that. You can take a Loom, just a regular Loom video, okay, and record yourself on the Loom going over a proposal with someone and send that out. It doesn't have to be the fanciest, most expensive video stuff in the world.
Sure.
Right, because it's about the communication. Remember I said, it's about communication, accuracy, and speed. So if I can do a Loom video, then I'm fine. So now, what we've noticed, because this is really important, and I don't want your listeners to miss this, most of our video proposals are opened multiple times between 10 p.m. and midnight. Okay, 10 p.m. and midnight. The other thing about a video is that, Tom, let's say I send a written proposal, and Tom's got to talk to his wife about it. Well, now Tom is trying to explain something Tom doesn't know. Right? So he is minimizing the value of the work I've done on that quote because he's screwing up all this stuff that I tried to explain. With a video, Tom says, here, let's watch the video, honey. That's why we see multiple times, because I track the actual ISP address. And a lot of times, those multiple opens are not coming from the same ISP address. So it may be 10 o'clock that mama is on her computer looking at the video, and at 10:02, dad is on his computer in the office in the basement looking at the video, and at 10:03, they're sending it to a partner saying, hey, why don't you check this out? But here's the thing. I'm communicating accurate, correct information each time.
I love that. No, I love that. What about, so I've had multiple people do this, and I know that it's, you shouldn't be doing this. But I know some people do. They get the quote back. They save the PDF from SafeGo, for example, right? I saved my auto quote from SafeGo. I send it off to the customer over on a video proposal or a video quote, and it's literally SafeGo's information. How important is sending just that quote over compared to creating your own branded agency proposals?
In my opinion, it's not important at all, because the customer's buying from you. They're not buying from SafeGo.
Thank you.
That's
I
my
appreciate you
opinion.
answering
So
that.
if you guys got the time, like you're creative. So if you've got the time to go on to Canva and create it, it's very professional. It's branding. I mean, it's marketing. It's all of that. But for a guy today who may not have that creativity, just go get you a free damn Loom video, get that away. Send it off. I always teach agents, don't worry about the good stuff until you can actually afford the good stuff. Okay. Right now, you just need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You can eat filet mignon later. Right? You need a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Or like Loom, or it's like right now, we're recording this podcast via Zoom. My podcast, I guarantee you, out in the world, cost a hell of a lot cheaper than all the other ones out there, because it's simplicity. It's about the content and about the curation of it. So for me, this is actually on my planned one, because I do multiple. I do some webinars with multiple participants, but you can get a free Zoom account. I could sit here and record with one person for 45 minutes. Yep. But guess what? There's something in here. It's called share your screen. You can get on this by yourself and share your screen with that proposal PDF and do it and save it and send it. It's the same thing. So the excuse of, I don't have the money in my budget to pay for a video proposal, that's BS. That's just you not wanting to do it. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And a part of that problem is the technology should fit into your process. So let's talk about this, because we're talking about process. Here's the deal. You have 4 types of staff in your agency. I don't care if you're a one-person shop. You have 4 types of staff. You have processes, which is your general manager. You have technology. You have automation, and you have human staff, right? Processes, again, that's your general manager. So processes guide everything in your agency. Step 1, pick up the phone. Step 2, open up the AMS system. Step 3, look for a phone number. Step 4, verify this information, whatever that process is, right? Then you have technology, automation, and humans. So if you hire the way that I train to hire, the way I mentor to hire, you're going to have your processes. Then you're going to have your technology that you need to work that process, not just some fluff.
Need, not want. He said need.
Right. That's usually just an AMS system, a phone system, an email system. And if you got a good AMS, most of that happens inside of your AMS, except for the phone anyway. Right?
Correct.
So then you're going to have your technology, which your AMS, and then you're going to have your automation, which is your templates that you created. That's automatically sent when something happens. Maybe it's a workflow that you've built into your AMS that says the moment I categorize a person as a new customer, they get this drip email series. They get this text message series. They get this. So I want that communication to go out effectively, fast, and accurately, right?
Correct.
Humans are the last piece of my staff, because humans are there to manage my processes. They're there to work the technology, and they're there to verify the automation. So once I have them doing that, now I don't have to worry about a lot of these things happening. Now I can teach my human staff, my people, to have the conversations that I need them to have. But a lot of your people aren't having conversations because they're caught up in the technology.
Yep.
They're trying to figure out what button to push. They're trying to figure out what email to send. They're trying to figure out how to write a damn email, right? What wording should I say here? And so they don't have the creativity to just have that conversation because you didn't set the process.
Bingo.
So processes first. So anyway, continuing on with our tech journey. So now the person gets your video quote. They decide they want to call you. At that point, the most important thing you can have in your agency are agency standards. Agency standards. This is our minimum recommended coverage. So you're getting an auto quote. Our minimum is $250, $500. Now I'll sell you $50, $100 if that's what you want. I'll sell you $100, $300, but you're going to have to sign a decline coverage form to get anything less than our recommended standard. See, that's our process. Well, why do I have to sign it? Because that's our agency process. Now, what that does, it doesn't matter how strong your salespeople are, how weak your salespeople are, because we're all speaking the same language. We're speaking one common language. These are our standards. I'm going to explain the consequences of if you don't accept our standards, meaning you could have to end up paying more money out of pocket. You may not be covered in this claim. You may have to pay your own rehab, your own medical. You may have to pay a portion of your own legal fees if you had to go to court because you didn't take our recommended coverage, which is going to better protect you than this minimum coverage, right? So now, I don't care if you're 18 to 80. I don't care if you've got experience or not you don't have experience. I don't care because you're speaking our common language. See, a lot of your agencies aren't growing because your tech is speaking one language, your automation is speaking a different language, your staff is speaking one language, your work ethic is speaking a different language. We don't have that issue with the Williams Family Investment Group. We all speak a common language based on that agency's minimum standard. Now, I may have a commercial agency and they have a completely different standard than a PNC agency, or I may have a life insurance agency or an annuity focus or a senior product agency, completely different standards, but everyone in that agency speaks the same language. And we start that by making sure we have minimum recommended agency standards. So now when I'm talking to that customer, I'm talking from that standpoint. Okay, go ahead.
Not only is the price between those two things that you just stated with the 100, 300 or the 250, 500, they're not even that far apart off of premium. But guess what? You're trying to do what? If you're in this industry and you don't have the premier focus of, I'm trying to make sure that they're when they sign this document, I feel confident that they're protected the way that they need to be protected, right? Up to our agency standards. But if you're the one,
you go beyond the agency standards. Remember, the agency standards are your minimum.
But as long as you are below that or above that minimum, you need to make sure that is your top priority.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker, in my opinion. If you want to sell 250 or 2550 limits or state minimum liability limits or anything under those standards, maybe you should second guess why you're doing what you're doing. First off, because the reason why you have agency standards, if you're telling someone else how to protect themselves and their assets, guess what you have to do? You got to protect yourself and your assets as an insurance agent. And by having those standards, you're protecting yourself from a consequence that's going to make you lose everything that you've just worked for.
Well, again, we don't have very many E&O complaints. The only E&O, and understand, I'm a partner in 160 plus agencies.
Right.
The only time we see an E&O complaint is when someone doesn't follow our processes, when they don't listen to the general manager. Okay, that's when we have a problem. And if you don't listen to the general manager in a normal job, what happens?
Bye-bye.
Right, you get fired. And that's the same thing that happens in our agencies. If we end up with an issue like an E&O or something else, or a customer having a problem or whatever, and I go back and I check my processes and you didn't follow my process, you're either going to get reassigned in the agency or reassigned out of the agency, because that's my standard. That's how we do it.
Look at it in a sports perspective, listeners. I mean, it's a game plan. I've said this before, and the reason why I started my local podcast and started doing that as a sales funnel for commercial clients was because Bradley Flowers gave me a game plan.
Okay.
If I don't follow it, you think Bradley's going to be very receptive of me asking him for advice ever again? Probably not. But two, he gave me a cheat code to go succeed. and I took it, read it, did my thing, and I had some success with. Right?
Right.
It's like a coach. Your coach is going to give you a game plan. You want to be, if you're 6'5" and you're 197 pounds, but you want to go play be a Division I lineman, you better put some weight on, right? You got to have a game plan to put some weight on. Everything we do, there's a game plan to it. And that's the one thing I love about you and how you put things in perspective is it's like a game plan to me.
Exactly. Well, the thing you have to understand about people, and remember, I'm retired Army, commander of Army College recruiting. So I'm used to dealing with younger kids and younger people and whatever. Most people can edit success better than they can create it. So let me explain what I mean by that. Let's take Canva. The reason why Canva is so popular, because Canva gives you templates to work with. You take those templates and you modify them for what you need, right? But a lot of people, if they just had a blank canvas and they said, create something, most people couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. So when we give you a template, when we give you a script, when we give you a process, when we give you a workflow, when we give you automation, technology, what I'm doing is I'm giving you something that you can use to edit your success more than create your success. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Most people can edit success better than they can create success.
Well, but you have to be accepted and coachable, I guess, is the way I put that, right? You've got to be receptive to it, accepting of, maybe you're going from one agency to another, or you're going from, being a producer to now an agency owner, whatever the jump is. I mean, you still have to master that.
You do. But let's say I'm working with an older agency, like you guys are pliable. You guys are you can learn. Let's say I'm working with someone who's been in the business 45 years. Right. And they say, Billy, I've done it all. I've seen it all. I know it all. There's nothing you can teach me. There's this and this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up your email templates. And I want you to send out this email template in that situation. Can you do that for me? Yeah, that I can do, but all this other stuff, don't worry about all that other stuff. Don't worry about all the claims you've dealt with and all the people that have told you no and all. Don't worry about any of that. Just send this email template when this situation happens. They go, okay, I can do that. So now on that email template is going to have one, the message that I want it to have accurately written. It's going to have our agency standards. It's going to have what you currently have, and it's going to have our recommendations, right? And we've gone through, if it's an auto endorsement, we've got our main coverages. Here are the standards. Here's what you have. Here's what we recommend. We go through home, all of that. So now what happens is the agent, I'm not undermining their experience. I'm not taking away, all that wisdom that they have, but I am having them do things more efficient the way I want, which is send communication that's accurate and faster. So now when you're doing an endorsement, you can edit that template. You can add whatever you want to add to our templates, but you cannot take away. There is no subtraction on our templates. There's only addition.
I'm going to get your eyes all perked up here, and you're going to be all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed when I say this, because you love Linktree.
Yes,
and I love Linktree. I have been a Linktree user for a couple of years now, and oh my lands, does it make life so much more easy.
Yes.
Especially with you want people to get somewhere at a quick, certain, whether it's on their phone or on the email, how can I get them quick from point A to point B with the least amount of hassle? Linktree is a way to do that if you're wanting them to connect with you in certain ways. Are you having everybody in your agencies? Are you seeing everybody use the Linktree feature?
Yeah,
How are they using
it's mandatory.
in the templates?
But you got to remember, I have a tech team. So when I partner with an agency, part of that partnership is there's certain things that our tech team is going to do. So we create a Linktree for everybody. Gotcha. Right, that has an outbound communication. We create that Linktree, and that Linktree may have your website, your appointment scheduler, your social networking platforms. Maybe you're on YouTube, maybe you got a podcast, maybe you got whatever. So yeah, we send that out, but it's easier for us because we control the setup. I'm not relying on the agent or the staff member to set it up. Gotcha. So it's much easier for us.
Sure.
Okay.
But guys, it's easy to do. I mean,
Oh, it's super simple.
it's pretty easy to do, and
But you know
you
what?
should be able to get through it.
It's easy not to tell a lie, but people still lie. It's easy not to steal, but people still steal. It's easy to do the right thing.
Yep.
It may not be emotionally easy all the time because you want to somehow make the other person feel happy. But if you're not emotionally caught up in the other person's actions or reaction, it's easy to be good. But that doesn't mean we always do it. Right. And so it's the same thing here. I hear agents, they like, oh, Billy, I'm so busy. I'm going to get this straight. You came to me whining and moaning and crying about how broke you were, about how you don't have any policies, you don't have any leads, your people aren't doing what you want them to do, but you're too busy to set up my processes that I've already written out for you. I've already put step by step for you. All you have to do is edit the process. You don't have to create it. You just need to edit it. But you're too busy. No, what you're telling me is emotionally, you're not at the place you need to be. You're not trying to get away from something. We talked about that before the process started. When you're running from something or you're trying to get away from something, you work harder than if it's just an opportunity that happened to pop up. Or here's the thing. That's why when you went down to the Dominican Republic, those guys are busting their ass because they're trying to get out the hood, get out the ghetto. They're trying, and it's not that they're trying to get to someplace, because that doesn't have as much emphasis getting to someplace as getting from someplace. If I'm in a bad marriage, not that I've ever been in a bad marriage, I've been married forever, but if I was in a bad marriage, I'm going to do everything I can to get out of that bad marriage. That doesn't mean I'm going to go try to find Mrs. Right. You know, I'm not running to Mrs. Right. I'm running from Mrs. Wrong.
Wrong.
Right. And so that's a thing when I see lazy agents, you're not running from something. You're not running from broke because you probably got money in the bank. You're not running from inefficiency because you probably feel like, what the hell is going to get done anyway? If I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. Right. You're not running from anything. But man, when you run from something, dude, you will bust your butt. And I love those agents. I'm like, what do you have to lose? What is it that you, dude? I hate where I'm working. I hate the people I'm working with. I hate the fact that, my dad owns the agency and he won't listen to anything I'm saying. I mean, they hate it and they want to get away from it. Those are agents that I love to work with because now I know they're going to take the time to do what they need to do versus everything else is being complacent and comfortable.
And dude, the unfortunate part about it, but also a great opportunity, I guess, for themselves and for the industry is those people need guidance, whether that's the lack of training they're receiving, the lack of and training goes huge, and you and I both know this. Training is what makes it, right? I mean, training for it and the game plan of training, the whole 9 yards of that is so important. But you could be a young agent and be the best thing since sliced bread with being able to talk and sell the sole off of a shoe. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, he's gonna have a process.
Right.
He's got to have a process. He doesn't have a process. He's got to have a process. He's got to have a process. But some just don't understand it.
Well, the thing is, we all have a process. Let's get straight. We all have a process. It may not be written. It may not even be understood, but we're all going to do something a certain way. So if Sally has been screwing up something, you can double check. Sally's been screwing up something that way for a while because that's her process. You didn't give her the right way to do it, so she figured out how to get it done on her own. Now, the fact that it's the wrong way, hey, at least something happened. So that's the problem. When you don't give a process, right, a verifiable written process, accurate process, then the other person is left on their own to create something. Remember I said people can edit success much better than they can create it. So they're left to create something. And not everybody's a good artist. And not everybody can create good things. But they had to create something because something had to get done.
Are you seeing more people, maybe younger, maybe older, I don't know. Are you seeing more people branch off and want to go do something on their own? Are you seeing that be more of a common thing recently?
That's the mentality because you guys grew up in that Instagram world. You don't, like, I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming you don't know a world.
27.
you don't know a world without an iPhone.
But here's something funny. You can probably rebuttal. I do know a lot about this iPhone now because it's helping me out, and making me
But
more
do you know a
efficient in my
world
process.
without an iPhone in
Yes,
it?
I do, because I never had it. So my dad owned a surveying company, has forever.
Okay.
Well, back when I was in 7th grade, 8th grade, all my friends were getting cell phones. They got these flip. I think the Razor was a thing back in the day.
Okay.
Whatever the one that you could flip horizontal
Right.
and you could type on it. The LGs. Those were the
The
next best thing
Nokias,
that,
the LGs.
yeah, those that
Gotcha.
came out. But my dad and all the surveying crew, they had Nextel Direct Connect, the
Nextel.
walkie-talkie
Click,
that flip.
click.
Yes.
Chirp.
So I got a cell phone my 8th grade year, just because I was playing golf in middle school, and when you're going, mom would want to check in. But the only time I could use that phone was literally a direct connect. So I didn't ever had a phone. My parents kept phones away from us until we were middle way through high school. So I think I might be a little bit different just in how you say. I talked about having a little bit of an old soul, old spirit to me.
Right.
Also because of how my parents raised me. But yeah, dude, no one, you ask any other 25, 26, 27-year-old, they don't know life without an iPhone.
Right. And so because they don't know life without it, then in their mind, everything has to be technology based. Everything has to be Instagram or fancy. I've got to bring the heat. I got to pimp my ride. I got to do all this. I've got to be the center of everything. It's got to be my shingle, my name, my stuff, my brand,
my shoes,
my image. Yeah, my image. It's got to be that. Once Gary V got his shoe and he wasn't an athlete, all of a sudden, all these other non-athletes suddenly wanted a shoe, right? Because Gary V had his shoe, right? So the younger people, I don't expect them to stick around very long. And that's what I tell all my staff, all my agencies that are my partners. Look, when we hire somebody, we're hiring them to work our process. That's what we're hiring them for, to work our processes. If they happen to stick around 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, amazing. But I have no expectation. That's why my processes have to be stronger than my people. If I build my agency around people and people leave, every time that person leaves, my agency takes a dip. Right? We just
had that happen yesterday.
Yeah, it takes a big dip because it was built around that person. But when it's built around a process that person is managing and running and operating, now all I got to do is bring someone in to take over the process. And maybe they're not as good as the person who left, but my process is always as good as it was when I was working it.
So loyal listeners, there's daggone it. The writing on the wall is get your process in check. Get it checked out. Ask for help. The biggest thing, Billy, I tell this every show, every episode. If you aren't out there asking for advice, asking for help, asking, Jason Cass, Jason, can I spend 10 minutes of your time? I got a couple of questions I'd love to hear.
Jason flew down on his birthday last year. Jason flew down and spent 2 days with me, right? In Dallas on his birthday, not with his family, not with whatever. Talking about Jason Cass. He flew down, spent 2 days with me, and picked my brain, and we played golf, and we talked, and we did whatever. That's why Jason and I are like family. You know what I mean?
He talks about you. Dude, he speaks so highly of you. Literally loves you, adores you, and that anybody that Jason likes, I'm gonna be honest with you, I seem to like as well. And
well, Jason's just he's a genuine guy who really cares about this industry. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm saying. If you don't have that kind of humbleness about you, where you are willing to say, let me go sit at the feet of the mentor. Let me go sit at the feet of the knowledge, of the wisdom, not just at my feet, but let me go find the wisdom, the knowledge, the whatever. Because I go sit at the feet of other people, just like Jason came and spent 2 days with me. I will spend money and go spend 2 days with somebody else. Yeah, I used to spend like $25,000 just to go to Berkshire Hathaway week because I wanted to be around those people, right, from Berkshire Hathaway. I mean, all of those kind of things. And if you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to grow, and if you're too, Socrates said it best. He said, smart people learn from everything and everyone. Average people learn from experience. Stupid people don't learn anything because they already know everything.
Ah,
And that's something Socrates said thousands of years ago.
you think you'll ever stop learning?
No.
I
The
didn't
more I
think
stop
so.
learning,
Oh
I'll
my
start
goodness.
dying. Well, I start dying. I mean, if you're not moving, you're dying. So
Sure.
if I don't, even right now, opening the scratch agency with my kids, right? I'm a PNC guru. There's nothing that you can ask me about running a PNC agency that I can't tell you. But you know what I'm not a guru of or in? I don't know Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage the way that I'm going to. I don't know all the ins and out of annuities and fixed annuities the way that I'm going to. I don't know deferred comp plans and key man policies the way that I'm going to. So at night, when my wife and I lay down, I put on earbuds and I fall asleep listening to this is what an annuity is. This is what now I may only hear 10 minutes of it before I fall asleep, but it keeps playing, right? Because there's something that is piercing in my brain. And the next day I'll get up and I won't even remember hearing it, but I'll read something and go, that sounds familiar to me. And this is every night, right? This is not something that I just did today, because this is a whole new world for me. And so I'm probably going to do this for the next year. Every night I'm going to go to bed with something saying, I need to learn. And I'm learning from some really good folks that are out here. So no, you never stop learning. Now, applying that learning is not the problem. Let me just say this. Learning is never your problem. Most of your listeners know what the hell to do. They do. The problem, believe it or not, is time management. I think that is the number one problem in most agencies. I have this saying, and ice cream, which you guys can go out to icecreamlessons.com if you want to hear some of the stuff that he's talking about. Icecreamlessons.com. Okay. In ice cream, I have this saying, if you don't make the time to create wealth, then all of your time is spent fighting off poverty. Okay. If you don't make the time to create wealth, then all of your time is spent fighting off poverty. And I think time management is the number one problem with most young agents in the industry. And the reason why they have a time management problem is because they have a priority problem. They don't know what to prioritize. Everything is a priority, right, to them. That phone ringing, that text message coming in, that email coming in, the carrier leaving a message, the wife calling for this, the kids have to go pick up milk from the store. Everything's the same damn priority to them. And it can't be. You've got to have A, B, and C priorities. A, I need to get it done right now. Ooh. B, I'll get it done as soon as I can. And C, if I ever get to it, then I will. But that's the problem. And they don't know what their A, B, and C priorities are. And the reason why they don't know is because they don't have a process. What happens the moment we all have these brain farts, right? We all have brain farts where we don't remember something, right? What do? On my phone, I have an Android. I'm an Android guy, not an iPhone guy. But on my it works for me.
Okay.
On my phone, I have this notes app, and I probably have 7,000 different notes on my phone, all tagged, all categorized. And so if someone's asking me, well, Billy, what's the top 20 ways to market for auto insurance? I could go, well, you can buy some leads, you can do some this, I say, well, here, let me go to my phone, let me tag in auto insurance leads, top 20, bam. Well, here's what our research shows. When I look at our, the 26,000 policies that we wrote last month as a group, here are the sources that they came from. So these are our top 5, top 10, top 15 sources. Now, if I didn't take the time to categorize that, if I didn't take the time to put that information together, if my team didn't take the time to put that information together, if I didn't take the time to make sure they uploaded it to my OneDrive so that it synced to my phone, right? If none of that happened, then I can't have that access to information. So that means you asking me that question, now I'm taking time away that I actually have the answer right there in front of me. So no, guys, I truly believe the number one problem with most young agents, it's 2 legs. Number 1, time management. Number 2, being able to properly prioritize. And the way you get around both of those, have a written process. Step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do that.
So this is I buy one notebook a year, and it's just for kind of quick notes / I might be sitting here at the table. It stays at home. It's just kind of my little journal, I guess, maybe for lack of a better term. If it's something that I use in business, I'll go and take it on my OneNote and I'll type it in there. I'll take a picture of it and use AI and have it scanned and put into the note. Right. But there's something about writing stuff down for me that it sticks in my brain a little bit more. But you'll never guess, in my 2023 notebook, first page is.
Let me guess. Ice cream. That's what I'm talking about, my man.
The first page. And I didn't just write that down. I didn't do that before the show to do that, or just to toot my horn. But I legitimately, that was the first thing I wrote in that notebook, and it was day one of 2023 in the office. And I always start my day with some type of motivational.
That's the kind of impact and influence that I want to have in this industry. It doesn't matter what you do when you're here. What matters is what you leave when you're gone.
Absolutely.
Right. And those are the kind of legacy impact things that I want to leave, where people go, well, I don't know, what's that guy's name? I don't know, black guy, bald headed, played a lot of golf. What was his name? I don't remember his name, but here's what he said that really impacted me. Here's what he taught me that really drove me to a whole different level in my business. That's legacy. And that's what I want to leave in this industry. Well,
you are making more of an impact than you probably know. And I appreciate everything that you do for the industry. And, I love having not only just, smart individuals, forward-thinking individuals, people that care and love the industry and the work that they're doing, but people that also believe and have the same motivation, same, I guess, vision and I guess, career path of where I want to go. I mean, following in somebody's footsteps like yourself, I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? Somebody like a Jason Cat, why would someone not want to follow in those footsteps? People have done it before.
Let me tell this story about Jason. Please come on. This is why I think Jason is so into my mentoring and what we do, and why we're such good friends, almost family. 7 or 8 years ago, I don't exactly know when when it was, but we were sitting and talking, and Jason was talking about his agency and what he's doing, and I told him, I said, Jason, the problem with your agency is that you are the number one producer in your agency. You have got to stop being the number one producer in the agency. You've got to get the hell out the way. You've got to delegate it and give it to someone else. And I said, when you do that, it'll allow you to mentally free up, and it'll allow you to go do other things that you love to do, right? Because you're delegating it. So here we are 8 years later. And again, I'm not speaking on Jason's behalf. You guys can call Jason or talk to Jason, but here we are 8 years later. Jason runs his own podcast syndicate thing, right? He does stuff in Cuba for churches. He runs other organizations in the industry. He hosts amazing workshops like BrainShare and Indie Tech, and he does all this other stuff. And you know why? Because he's not sitting there trying to be the number one producer in his agency. He's going and saying, let me create a process. Let me train other people to do these processes. Let me oversee these processes and manage and spot check these processes. And while they're doing that, I can be off doing bigger denomination things or bigger things that impact the industry. I think that's why Jason is a Billy Williams fan, and why Billy Williams is a Jason fan, because that conversation changed the trajectory of, I think, his agency, and which changed the trajectory of his career, which changed the trajectory of his life and all the other lives that he touches.
Well, and that story is awesome, because you probably know as well, there's probably very few out there that do. And I know he shared it on a mastermind meeting last week that I was on, and he hired a CEO.
Yes.
And however many years he's been doing this, and I think that has a little bit of a reward of the things that you've probably advised and you guys have had conversations about. And that's a great part about having a mentor and someone you can bounce those ideas off of, because that probably sparked his interest or his thought and in his mind, and the best for his agency's long-term, success and legacy. I need to take off more. I need to not take off, but I need to delegate more and give somebody some more responsibility that deserves it. And he did. And he hired a CEO. And now for him, that's been a massive thing for him, especially when it comes to the automation side of things now.
Right. Well, the thing about it is, I'm going to leave, I told you I'm a numbers guy. We started talking this. I tell you, I got to break things down into numbers, because I'm not that smart about retaining, but I can retain numbers. So there are 4 types of discipline, right? I told you there are 4 types of staff, right? There's processes, technology, automation, and then your humans. But there are also 4 types of discipline. Okay. Self-discipline, accountability, automation and technology, and outsourcing. And when you go through that workflow, self-discipline, that's what a lot of your young agents are depending on right now. Their own self-discipline. I'm getting in there, I'm hustling, I'm working 12 hours a day, I'm making it work, I'm doing this, right? That's fine. But self-discipline is tied to your emotion, which means the moment you get emotional about something, that self-discipline goes out the door. I'm super self-disciplined about eating until I'm hungry, right? And now if I'm hungry and I'm in the car, dude, Taco Bell starts calling me, Burger King.
Yes, it's my favorite.
I would never eat. So I'm super self-disciplined as long as I never get hungry, right? So same thing. There are a lot of golfers that are super self-disciplined about practice as long as it's not cold, not hot, not rainy,
not iced in Texas.
As long as everything's perfect, they're self-disciplined. The problem is what happens when things are not perfect, right? And that goes to the number 2. So I said there are 4 disciplines: self-discipline, accountability, automation, technology, and then outsourcing. So when your self-discipline starts to wane, you need accountability. That could be an accountability partner, another agent that you talk to on a regular basis. That could be your mentor. That could be your wife or your spouse saying, hey, you need to get in there and do this. But somebody needs to know what you're supposed to do. See, a lot of agents won't be successful because they're hiding, right? They're hiding out. No one knows what they're supposed to do. Therefore, there's no accountability of doing it. So in golf, right, in golf, I talk a lot of trash in golf. I mean, if you ever play with me, I talk a lot of trash, but a lot of that is accountability. Because if I tell you I'm beating you by 5 strokes today and I put it out publicly, dude, I better go work my butt off to beat you by 5 strokes. Right? Or else you're not going to give me any credibility. That's just Billy. He's just talking trash. He's not taking it serious. So now I have no credibility. So accountability, a lot of that is just letting someone else know what you're supposed to do. So if you're having a problem sticking to your daily schedule, call another agent, call another friend and say, hey, man, today I'm supposed to make 20 outbound calls. I'm supposed to send out 50 text messages. I'm supposed to, get on LinkedIn and connect with 5 new potential referral partners. Check with me at 4 o'clock and see if I've done this. See, that's accountability.
Love that too.
And
there's people that are willing to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. People are willing to help you because it helps them too. The best way to learn something is to teach it. Okay. Best way to learn something is to teach it. So the third of those disciplines is technology and automation. That's where you guys are caught up. You young guys are all caught up in technology and automation, right? Because you're trying to do the 4th with it, which is delegate, outsource it. So most of the young folks, not you, but most of the young folks are so busy trying not to work, right? And that's what they use technology and automation for, so that I don't have to work. But what it does is when you don't manually touch something, you don't learn it. So if all you've done is use a quote tool, as opposed to writing something down on a damn quote sheet, sometimes you don't ask all the questions that a quote sheet has. You don't ask square footage. You don't ask, hey, what year was this made? When did you get your HVAC updated? When did you don't ask those questions because you never learned the manual way to do something. So whenever I partner with an agency, and this makes them all mad, the first month that I'm a partner in that agency, everything goes back to a quote sheet. Everybody. I don't care if you've been doing it for 40 years. You've got to go back to a quote sheet because it's the only way I can track and get everybody on the same language. Okay.
So it's kind of like hitting a reset button in a sense.
Yeah. Well, it's, in the military, every year you have this thing called bivouac or RTEP, where you go out for 2 weeks and you work on your skill. You go back to the basics. So you go in the field for 2 weeks and you work on this skill. In school, what I used to do was with my kids, whatever grade they were in, I always over the summer had them do workbooks 2 grades below that. So if they were in the 6th grade, I make them do a 4th grade workbook. If they're in the 8th grade, I made them do a 6th grade workbook because there was something there that they missed. Either a teacher didn't teach it, either they didn't have enough time to cover it in the subject, something, but there's always something that they missed that's foundational, right? Now, here I am today. My kids, my oldest is 20 years old. He's a senior at University of Southern California, about to graduate. He's a mathematics and computer science major, right? My 19-year-old is a sophomore at University of Texas, Arlington. She's a physics major. My 18-year-old is at Midland University in Nebraska, and she's an exercise science major, right? They're on a scholarship. So going back, my kids hated it. They hated going back and having to do those workbooks over the summer because they wanted to hang out with their friends and they wanted to go do this. And I'm like, no, you're not going anywhere until I see a chapter is done in that workbook. But what it does, and they've told me, Dad, when other kids were stumbling and fumbling because there was something foundational that they didn't get, I didn't have that problem because I always had the basics. And that's what a lot of agents won't do.
And right? I bet you daggone damn well sure that they knew how to use a Google Calendar or time blocking off too with being with you guys, because that's something that I love doing. Yeah. And I am a divorced individual, the mother of my two kiddos. We get along great, but we are doing so well with family where at when because we have a shared calendar that makes life easier. And that's
my kids put their homework assignments in our shared family calendar so that we all know what's due.
And we're all accountability.
Yes. My wife or I can go in and go, hey, you said you had this physics exam Thursday. Have you studied for that? What's going on with that? So we all know what's going on with that. And that's accountability. But technology and automation. Technology is designed to do three things, which we talked about. And I know we're running over, but it's designed to do three things. Number one is to communicate effectively, right? That's what technology should allow you to communicate effectively with whoever you're communicating with. Number two, it should allow you to communicate accurately. And number three, it should speed up the process. So if you're buying Loom or Zoom or Voom or Vroom or whatever the hell, whatever you're buying, right? Why are you buying it? Are you buying it because you saw it at a workshop? Because you went to a conference where someone said you should have that? One of the best tools that I have in my arsenal of tools is this tool that you use. I can't even think of the name of it. As soon as I thought about it, it's on my computer though. But it allows you to go in and create PDFs. Tango.us. Tango.us. And so we create all of our processes in Tango.us because you can put a video in there, you can put screen captures in there, you can put all this. So now all of our written processes are in Tango.us. So if someone goes in and they go into a library, the agency, and say, I need to know how to add a fifth car, right? Because that's like one of the major things that new agents have no clue. Sure. How do I add a trailer and how do I add a fifth car to a policy? Right? So
or effective date change.
Right.
You've already issued the policy.
Right. So now you go in and we've got a Tango that shows you the video. It records someone actually making that endorsement on whatever. Those are things that you need. Now, that's what you use technology for. But most agents are using it to avoid work, right? To avoid work, not to make work more efficient, more effective, more knowledgeable, but to say, I don't do that anymore. So let me get this straight. Your customer calls in to make a change on their auto policy. And you say, well, as soon as they call in, my VA picks up the phone. And then my VA will take some information, and then my VA puts it in Slack. And then Slack moves it over to this other tool. And then HubSpot picks it up. And then HubSpot takes it over here and does this. And then my account managers go in twice a day and look at HubSpot. And it's like, dude, couldn't the person just said, hey, thank you for calling anything agency. How can I help you? Yeah, I can do that for you. Let me go ahead and take that information. Really? Do you see what I'm saying? So guys, you're buying technology. I'm not saying technology is bad in any kind of shape, way. I use Chat GPT and, Chat Sonic and all this other stuff to write blog posts. I have my own CRM. We have our own database management tools. I use the hell out of technology, right? But I use it within a process. I don't just have random pieces of technology. Here's my process. Where in this process does this piece of technology fit?
And if it's not being used more, in my opinion, if it's not being used more than 3 times a day, in my opinion, it's not doing what your purpose for. Especially if you're, if you're writing personal lines and you've only got 3 personal lines activities throughout the day, and you're using, Calendly to book appointments because no one's going to your Calendly to book an appointment. Well, maybe you should not use Calendly. Maybe you should get the appointment on the phone while you're talking to him, right?
And then put it in your Calendly so that you have access to it.
Exactly. So I think it's making sure you're identifying what is needed compared to what you just want. And then from what you want and what you need, the little in between of, is this going to benefit me in those 3 things of efficiency, right?
Right.
And if it doesn't,
when you look at huge agencies, I'm talking like your Burns and Wilcox, all these other, I mean, you guys know who they are.
Yeah.
You've seen the Insurance Journal top 50, right? So you go to these huge agencies, they're not having this technology conversation. They're having a process conversation. Okay. Just remember that. So you guys go to these conferences, and I say you guys, I'm talking the younger audience that's here. You guys go to these conferences and you're sitting around with people who think like you think, who talk about the things that you talk about. They're talking in the denomination where you are or where you slightly want to be. But go to some of these huge conferences, right? Like what happened here in Dallas, where you have the top agencies and the top carriers and the top aggregators. I'm talking 50, 100, 200, $300 million agencies and aggregators. They're not talking technology. They're talking processes. And if they happen to find technology that fits in the process, that's perfect. But that's not their focus is, how do we use, this new rating system to get that done? Well, hell, Sally can rate. She's been rating for 30 years. Is she following our process on rating so we can get this issue? So
makes sense.
That's all.
Makes sense.
I'm not telling you technology is bad. I'm saying follow the order: process, technology, automation, people. And your processes are your general manager. Your processes have to be stronger than your people, and your technology should fit in your process.
I love that too. And the thing too, agents, and I'm gonna leave on this last question for him too, but you still can't forget you have a job to sell, right?
Yes.
I mean, you still have a job to sell, and you're gonna hear me do this until the day I die. But if you are writing commercial insurance and you're not getting in front of people's faces, and all you're doing is sit behind sending quote video or just little cold call emails, and not getting your ass off of the chair, getting the wheels on the pavement and actually knocking on doors, you won't succeed. You need to go out and build relationships. And that's going to lead me into this question, Billy, what I'm talking about with relationships. That's everything. My community is my everything.
Right.
I want to run for mayor in 8 years. That's the nature of the business. That's what I want to do. But community involvement. I hear people say, don't get involved in the chambers. Don't get involved in this. Don't get involved in this. Don't get involved with that not-for-profit. Make sure you're spending time here, not wasting too much time with the other community, whatever it might be. Community, in my opinion, if I was asked someone's asked me what the top 5 pillars of having a successful young insurance career: community involvement, philanthropy, not-for-profit, something in that nature has to happen. If you were going to work with me, work for me, whatever it might be, that is a pillar of success that I've had, and will go to the day I die, knowing that my community has made me into somewhat of the agency that I am and man that I am, because my community knows what type of person I am. And
well,
I think that's important.
Your community will also stabilize you and support you. When things go bad, your community will be there to help you. When you built your success on top of the layers of people that you've helped, that's a deep success. Now, there are a lot of people that have long, flat successes, right? I'm good at this. I'm good at mailing. I'm good at emailing. I'm good at this. I'm good at that. But there's no depth to it. Community gives you depth. So absolutely. Referral partners give you depth. So absolutely.
My 2 best friends, and I don't know if I brought them up many times before on the show, but my 2 best friends are my 2 biggest referral partners. And it's because of, one, it was an opportunity they gave me. One's mortgage, one's real estate. We are known as the 3 amigos, the trifecta, because we have made the home buying, they and we all three have made the home buying experience and buying a mortgage and closing on a house simple. People want to do business with Realtor A. People want to do business with mortgage loan officer A. People want to do work with insurance agent A because we make the process simple. They learn and they're covered, right? And at the end of the day, their customer experience is the most important thing to us because we are efficient with
and
every
your
single
process,
step.
and your partners want to use you because of the three things we talked about. Number one, you're communicating with them. Number two, you're accurate, right? You're giving them accurate information. And number three, you're faster.
Yep.
So the fact that you can do all that and make that process communicate, accurate, and faster, yeah, everybody wants that. Everybody wants
that. Process. Billy, dude, thank you so much for all your time. Not only if you could lay down if anyone wanted to learn more about you, you have a website, anything that
just go to inspirenation.org. Just go out to inspireanation.org. Okay,
easy for me to say.
The letter A is in between because people go Spire Nation. What is that? I don't know, but inspireanation.org. And we've got free videos. We're doing our 15-minute lunch and learns. I don't know if you've had a chance to attend any of those, where we're giving some damn good content in 15 minutes. So you can't tell me you don't have time to show up. It's 15 minutes. It's free. It's every Tuesday, and it's recorded. So what the hell is your excuse? Come on now.
I saw when you uploaded your picture for your headshot, I saw the flyer for it and I put it in the calendar. So I'll be
you to my link tree when I sent you my link tree.
Yep. That's what it was. That's awesome. And that's just, hey, go try to go to attend this first one, attend this first lunch and learn with Billy on Tuesdays. It's easy to find, but go try this out because you're going to see how easy it is to sign up and / be a part of, being a part of that.
And it's not about sales for me. I have an agency. So it's not about sales for me. It's if you want a mentor, if you want a proven process, if you want a proven system, we're here for you. If a lot of you don't need it, and that's fine. I'm absolutely okay with that. I don't care. But if you do need it, we're here for you. If you don't need it, at least you'll know what the hell to ask for. It's kind of like teaching a customer. A lot of times we won't sell a customer, but we'll educate that customer. And then the customer will at least know what questions to ask. They'll know what to look for. And then they come back to us because once they know what to ask and what to look for and realize nobody else is answering that, that's when they come back to you.
Come back. I like that. That's cool. That's good stuff. Before I let you go, Billy, if you have one piece of advice for anybody out in the world, non-insurance related, non-career based, let's just talk about life for a second. One piece of advice for someone, what would it be?
Discipline. Guys, here's the deal. You're either going to deal with discipline or regret in life. Those are the two legs, discipline or regret. You're either going to do it or you're going to feel bad that you didn't do it. So discipline or regret, which one do you want to wake up with every day?
Discipline, in my opinion, but that's just me and you. Well, Billy Williams, Mitch Gibson, appreciate everybody listening to another episode of the MVP podcast. Also, don't forget about Indie Tech, young agents. I'm going to keep reminding you until I hammer this in your head. The Indie Tech Showcase experience is going on from August 29th through the 31st. So August 29th, 30th, and 31st. Guess what? August 29th is a dedicated day only for young agents, 35 and younger, or less than 3 years of experience in this industry. Go to IndieTech2023.com. Put your information in there as an attendee so that I can get your email and contact info so we can direct you specific promotions and tickets and whatnot to come attend Indie Sales on August 29th. August 29th is dedicated for young agents. Sign up. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. I'm telling you right now, we've got a really good processing group coming together.
Jason texted me when him and I were going back and forth. I think I'm actually going to be there hosting one of your breakouts.
That was the plan, and I can't wait to have you there. I'm telling you, it's let's just put it this way. There's like going to be 10 to 12, maybe 13 different industry mentors that I look up to that I believe are doing the right thing in this industry. They're all going to be there to help you.
Love it.
Just for young agents. So that being said, Mitch Gibson, Billy Williams, thanks for listening to the MVP podcast. And always remember that you can make a difference. Take care, everybody.